Oh my goodness. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. You'll have to excuse me. I just remembered I needed to take some medication here. And then once I get done with this, I'll go ahead and show you what I'm going to be working on here. And take me just a minute here. Get the keyboard out of the way here. As you can see over here, we've got my current computer in the new case I got at Christmas. Let me close my office door. Okay, just about ready here. But, God damn it. Well, at least I didn't spill it this time. Anyways, I put my current system in this new case back on Christmas Day. My daughter's got me this new case on Christmas Day this year, for Christmas, of course. Duh. Anyways, so what this case has in it right now is an old system. It's probably about 7 years old. It's a Gigabyte GA 875M D3H. And I've got a i7 3770K processor underneath the liquid cooler there. And I've got 32 gigabytes of Corsair Vengeance DDR3 RAM, which, yes, my system is that old to where it's still running DDR3. So, since that time, since the time of Christmas, I did ahead and did some shopping around on Amazon and came up with a newer system, which is the Gigabyte H370 HD3 motherboard. And we're going to be installing a new i5 unlock chip. It's a i5 9600K. It's a 3.7 gigahertz chip, which the i7 that I've got right now is a 3.5 gigahertz. And since this is a new motherboard, I went ahead and got 16 megabytes of Corsair Vengeance RAM, DDR4 this time, 2 8 gig sticks, and next month I plan to get another 2 8 gig sticks of RAM to get this motherboard up to 32 gigabytes, which is what that board has in it. And hopefully, with it being the DDR4, the newer, faster CPU and motherboard, I'm really hoping for a little bit more upgraded as much as it can be upgraded. There's nothing really much more I can do besides put in a newer video card, which that video card is a Asus uh, GTX 970 with 4 gigabytes onboard video RAM. But I don't see the sense in buying a brand new whiz bang video card and slapping it on a 7-year-old motherboard that basically, in my estimation, it's reached the end of its usefulness for the simple fact I've maxed out the RAM. The new motherboard, I can go all the way up to 4 gigabytes of RAM on it. So it's a lot more upgradable. By the end of summer, hopefully I can save up the money to get an Intel processor to go in this motherboard, and then I'll either buy another cheap motherboard and use this CPU in another motherboard and daughter's computer. She's had her computer for 5 or 6 years now, so it needs an upgrade. And of course, since I'm going to be changing the processor now, that water cooler there has only been on that CPU since the 25th of December. So less than 20 days. So, and if you're going to be monkeying around and changing either your cooler or what have you. So, I'm going to go ahead and take this box here. And we have a couple SATA cables. Computers nowadays don't have CD-ROMs anyways, because just about any game or anything you buy is digital. So here's the motherboard, and here's the I/O shield that goes in the back of the case before I put the motherboard in. And here is my documentation for the motherboard and my installed DVD. But I'm not going to be using the DVD, so that's going to stay in the box. And generally, since your Windows 10 is I guess you could say married to your motherboard, I've got my BIOS update already downloaded on this flash drive, so I can update my BIOS on the new motherboard right away. I already went to the site and downloaded that the other day. And then if I need to put a fresh install of Windows on, I've got my Windows 10 flash drive here to where I can do a clean install if necessary. But I'm hoping that I can just go ahead and not have to do a clean install, since I'm going to be using my SSD hard drive. So let's get with this part of the build. I'll probably set the motherboard up this afternoon, get it all ready to go, and then later on tonight, as I expect my internet to go downhill in roughly hour and a half, 2 hours, because the kids will be getting out of school, and I only have DSL, and even a DSL where I live really sucks. Hey, Jordan, how you doing? Glad to see someone in here. Now, I'm not gonna grab this by the bottom of the board. Go ahead and grab it here in a static bag. We'll save that so that when I get my other motherboard out of there, I can go ahead and put it in the anti-static bag to where I can store it. So here is a good look at our motherboard. Hopefully you can see that. Now later on, I'm going to get me the M.2 drive that'll go right on the motherboard, but I'm not going to have that for a little bit of time. So we're just going to dig into this, and we'll go ahead and start with the CPU. Get it in here. Turn this down a little bit. There we go. Don't want to be stealing somebody else's stream. Figures one of the guys I follow on YouTube is going live right now. Of course, we got our documentation for our chip. Like I say, it's the i5 9600K. So we're just going to get this dude out. There's our processor. We'll just there we go. Put that down there. And this is the part where I need to put my glasses on. And put some light on the situation. I hate this new phone. I'm not used to it yet. Okay, flashlight. There we go. Okay. Little triangles right here. So, let's see here. Go ahead and put that like that. Okay. Alrighty. There's the chip. Grabbing it only by the edges. There's the underside of the chip. And we you can just barely see here in this corner, you got the little triangle. And a little triangle right here. And then there's two little notches on the back of the chip. And that should just fall right in, just like so. And whenever you replace your motherboard, you want to go ahead and hold on to this black plastic cap just in case you have to send the motherboard back. They will not replace your motherboard. It'll void your warranty. So motherboard is working. Be set down there. Now, one thing I want to check. I want to put our 2 sticks of RAM in the correct slots. Usually 2 sticks, but we're going to check the documentation just in case. Installing the memory, page 9. Looky there, what do you know? Right to it. Okay. Okay. 2 modules. Gonna use DDR4-2 and DDR1. Okay. Let's see if I can figure out which one is 1, which one is 2. It should be labeled on the motherboard. It's hell getting old, you can't see no more. Okay. I'm assuming correct. Usually you want to start with your slots that are closest to the processor. So that would be your black So here's the Vengeance DDR4 RAM. Come on. Really? You're going to be difficult. There we go. I got it. Real good. Okay. And it clicked, locking it in. And then we're going to take our other stick of RAM. And voila. But you can buy a module for a wireless setup. Let's see here. Should show on here. Okay, yeah. Okay, your fan header up here, CPU fan there, motherboard power there, motherboard power here, and let's see. I believe that this right here, yeah, this right here is the one M.2 slot, and then you've got another M.2 slot here. So when I do get an M.2 drive, it should go in this one because you're not going to have enough room here for the full stick, but here on this side you will. So when I do get the M.2, it'll go down here. My graphics card, which I've got in there right now, it's going to come right down here in this PCIe slot. So it's pretty simple setting up or to be installed in the motherboard. The last thing that I'll have to do here before it'll actually read Nuka-Cola on it in the correct orient, which I really don't need the wireless card because adapter here. So I've actually got two of these bad boys, and since my modem's just on the other side of my computer over there, I don't run wireless. I just run a LAN cable to my computer. It seems to run better that way and get a little bit better bandwidth. So that, I think we're gonna call this done for right now. Like I say, I didn't plan on going. I got 4 SATA connections here. And then 2 SATA connections here, so a total of 6, which that motherboard only has 2. And then you've got the USB 3.0 fan. It's always good to orient yourself with where your fan headers are, where your power is going to come in, which is pretty standard on most. Just like down here in this bottom left corner is where your audio is, your power switches and everything come in right here. You've got some USB right here, connections. So those will be for the 2. Well, one's going to be USB 3 on top of my computer, and then another one is just regular USB. And then looking at the back here, it looks like we've got 4 USB 3s on the back, which that's nice to have. And your LAN cable, 2 regular USB. So, and then the red one here, I believe, is what they call the Thunderbolt slot. I'm not real familiar with the Thunderbolt connections. They're supposed to be like super fast connection, but I don't have anything that runs that connection right now. But now that I have a board that has it, I may go out and get the cables and whatnot for that. Basically, it'll just give you that much faster data transfer. Uh, and just like when I do put an M.2 drive in here, those are supposed to be a lot faster than the just SATA SSD hard drives, which I just recently, probably about 3 months ago, I finally broke down and got the SATA, or the SSD, the solid state drive for my computer. I had been running a regular hard drive, which actually it's still in my old case, which I'll probably put that motherboard in my old case and put my old stock CPU cooler on it in that case. And I've got a spare video card over there that I'll put on it. And then the only thing I would need to get that case and computer up and running would be a power supply, which I may end up, like I say, I may end up just putting everything back in that case and then giving that case to my daughter, and that way she'll have a little bit better computer than what she currently has. Or if she don't want it, then I may end up I say if she doesn't want it, then I may end up, I've got someone that that might be interested in the motherboard and everything. Like I say, all I'd have to do is buy a power supply, which if I do that, right now the power supply I've got in here is not a modular power supply. So if I have to buy a new power supply, I'll go ahead and get a modular power supply, put it in this case, take that power supply out, put it in my old case with my old motherboard, my old CPU, and that other video card. And like I say, if my youngest daughter doesn't want the computer, because she has a current computer right now, if she doesn't want it, then I may know somebody that would be able to use a computer. Of course, it would be minus it wouldn't have a keyboard or a mouse or a monitor with it. It would just be the computer. So I say my daughter will have first dibs on that. And if she does that, then we still may have a spare computer. It depends on whether my daughter wants to keep that current computer she's got as a backup or whatnot. I mean, hell, if it comes down to it, I could probably, I've got an old laptop sitting around here. And when I say it's old, it's old. This guy that I follow on YouTube, he's fixing to do a build right now with the exact same motherboard as what I've got sitting here. I can't tell. Looks like he's got an i7 chip. Same power supply as what I'm running in there. A GeForce GTX video card, but I can't tell exactly what it is from this. And then he's got some RAM there. And it looks like an optical drive. And I'm not quite sure what that other box is. Interesting. But he was the one that recommended this board. And for a new board, this one I got it for $99 on Amazon, which I may put the link at the bottom of the video when I'm done. The RAM that I got was like $76, and can't remember. Let me see. My chip, my CPU was, I can tell you here in just a minute. Tell you all the particulars price wise. Let's see. The i5 was $214.89. The gigabyte hard drive was $99.99, and the RAM was $76.99. So let's see, spent $400 roughly on motherboard, RAM, and a new processor, and that's basically going to give me a whole new computer except for the video card. So I mean, $400 for a really good upgrade is not a bad deal at all, at least not in my view. Now, like I say, when I go to get the i9, because I'll try to get an i9 9900, I think it is. They're like a $500 chip. They're like twice as expensive as what this chip ran. So, like I say, hopefully by the end of the year or end of the summer, hopefully by then why didn't that movie go off already? So anyways, that's your motherboard so far. Like I say, later tonight when my internet improves again, I will go ahead and put the back plate on behind the motherboard, which the back plate will go right in here, and then that'll allow me to hook my water cooler pump up right there, and then I'll take the radiator and fan out so that I can put the motherboard in. Once I get the motherboard in, then I'll do all the wiring up, which that shouldn't take very long at all. And put my video card in it. And then last but not least, put the radiator and fan back on it. And like I say, I'll have a brand new computer at that point. And I'm really looking forward to it. So I think for now, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. And I will check back in with everyone later tonight. It's probably going to be after midnight when I go live again. Just for the simple fact of my sucky ass internet. And I do want to keep all my parts just in case I have a bad CPU. I want to have everything to where if I have to send it back, I've still got the original box and the original plastic in order to send it back if I have to. Here's hoping I don't have to, but just in case, you always want to keep all your boxes until you're quite sure that everything's going to fire up the way it's supposed to. So, with that being the case, I'm going to take this and I'm going to lay it back here on my other desk, making sure that I put it in a spot where it's not going to accidentally come in contact with any kind of static electricity, which technically I could probably put it back in a static bag, but with my RAM being installed, I don't know that I could get it back in the bag. So rather than tear up the bag, I'm going to go ahead and just, it's not going to get hurt back there. 2:35 right now, so like I say, the kids will be getting out of school here very shortly, within the next half hour. So my internet's fixing to go. So we're gonna call it a video and be done with it. Thanks everyone for watching.